Question 1. Given the circumstances that Mr. Ahmed is deploying a new XenServer host into an existing resource pool with mixed CPU architectures, he notices that the pool refuses to add the host due to incompatibility. What should Mr. Ahmed do to ensure the host can join the pool without performance penalties? A. Replace the CPUs on the existing hosts with those matching the new server. B. Enable CPU masking to match feature sets across hosts. C. Create a new pool with only the new host. D. Upgrade the firmware of the existing hosts to match the new CPU features. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. In mixed CPU environments, XenServer requires compatible CPU feature sets for hosts within the same pool. EPU masking allows disabling advanced features on newer CPUs to match older ones, enabling seamless integration without hardware replacement. Replacing CPUs is costly and unnecessary. Creating a separate pool loses resource sharing benefits. Upgrading firmware doesn't resolve fundamental CPU instruction mismatches as architecture differences remain. EPU masking aligns feature visibility while retaining functionality and pool membership compatibility. Question 2. Throughout the course of a live migration, Perez observes significant packet loss and temporary VM unresponsiveness. Analysis shows that both the source and target XenServer hosts are using NIC bonding in active-active mode. Which adjustment is most likely to prevent this issue? A. Switch NIC bonding to active-passive mode. B. Disable NIC bonding in use. A single NIC. C. Increase MTUR both hosts to 9000. D. Assign separate VLANs for migration traffic. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. In active-active NIC bonding, load balancing can cause packet reordering during live migrations, disrupting sensitive workloads. Active-passive mode ensures a single consistent path for migration traffic while retaining redundancy. Removing bonding sacrifices failover protection. Increasing MTU enhances throughput but doesn't fix packet reordering. VLAN segregation helps isolate traffic but won't prevent bonding-related instability during high-traffic migrations. Question 3. In light of recent developments in storage performance optimization, Mr. Tanaka needs to ensure his XenServer VMS have minimal I/O latency when using an ISCSI storage repository. What configuration step is most critical? A. Use multipathing for storage connections. B. Enable thin provisioning on the INIA-C. Increase the virtual disk cache size. D. Disable write caching on the storage array. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Multipathing enhances performance and fault tolerance by distributing I/O across multiple physical paths to the storage, reducing bottlenecks and improving failover. Thin provisioning saves space but can introduce latency under load. Increasing virtual disk cache may help read performance but not fundamental path redundancy. Disabling write caching actually degrades performance as it forces synchronous disk writes. Question 4. Demonstrated by a recent incident is Carter's XenServer pool experienced complete host failure. However, the affected VM did not restart on another host despite high availability, HARP being configured. Which misconfiguration is most likely the cause? A. The pool's HARP knew was on local storage. B. The VM's restart priority was set to high. C. The failed host had insufficient CPU resources. D. The pool had only 2 hosts instead of 3. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. HAR requires shared storage for the heartbeat INIA to monitor host health. If the heartbeat resides on local storage, failure isolates the INIA, preventing HAR from triggering a restart. A high restart priority alone wouldn't block failover. EPU insufficiency affects performance, not restart initiation. While more hosts increase resilience, HAR can function with 2 hosts if properly configured with shared storage. Question 5. While examining resource allocation, Mr. Lopez needs to ensure a database VM always has guaranteed CPU resources during peak usage without overcommitting. What should he configure? A. Set CPU priority to high in XenServer. B. Configure CPU pinning to dedicated physical cores. C. Enable dynamic memory control. D. Allocate all available CPUs to the VM. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. EPU pinning binds EM as VC PUS to specific physical cores, ensuring predictable performance for latency-sensitive workloads like databases. Setting EPU priority influences scheduling but doesn't prevent contention. Dynamic memory control optimizes RAM but doesn't guarantee CPU cycles. Allocating all C PUS increases scheduling overhead and can harm overall performance without dedicated assignments. Question 6. In the modern context of XenServer updates, is there plans to apply a hotfix to all hosts in a pool? What is the most efficient approach to minimize downtime? A. Shut down all VMS before applying the hotfix to each host. B. Apply the hotfix to the pool master only. C. Use rolling pool upgrades with live migration of VMS. D. Patch all hosts simultaneously for faster completion. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Rolling pool upgrades allow live migration of VMS off each host before patching, ensuring continuous availability. Shutting down all VMS eliminates downtime but is operationally disruptive. Applying a hotfix only to the master leaves other hosts unprotected. Simultaneous patching requires VM downtime and risks cluster instability if issues arise. Question 7. By evaluating a performance issue, ISTA-Sing discovers that certain VMS on XenServer are not showing updated metrics in XenSenser. What is the most probable cause? A. Outdated XenServer tools in the guest OS. B. Misconfigured VLAN tagging on the management interface. C. EPU overcommitment on the host. D. Disabled multipathing on storage. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. XenServer tools provide drivers and agents that report performance metrics to XenSenser. Without updated tools, guest metrics may be stale or missing. VLAN misconfiguration would affect connectivity, not metric collection. CPU overcommitment impacts performance but not monitoring accuracy. Multipathing settings are unrelated to VM performance data reporting. Question 8. Taking into account a compliance requirement is one must ensure that only specific administrators can create or delete VMS while others can view configurations without making changes. Which feature best meets this requirement? A. Role-based access control RBAC. B. Network isolation for admin workstations. C. Resource pool tagging. D. Enabling audit logging in XenSenser. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. RBAC allows assigning granular permissions to user accounts, restricting critical actions like VM creation or deletion to authorized administrators. Network isolation improves security but doesn't control permissions within XenServer. Tagging organizes resources but doesn't enforce access limits. Audit logs track changes but don't prevent unauthorized actions. Question 9. In an effort to prepare for disaster recovery, ISTA wants the fastest possible restoration of critical VMS in case of site outage. Which strategy provides the best balance of recovery time and manageability? A. Regular VS snapshots stored locally. B. Continuous replication to an offsite XenServer. C. Exporting VMS weekly to external storage. D. Using thin provision SRS to reduce restore time. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Continuous replication ensures near real-time copies of VMS at a secondary site, minimizing downtime and data loss during disasters. Local snapshots fail. If the site is lost, weekly exports have long recovery times and potential data gaps. Thin provisioning optimizes storage use but doesn't inherently speed up disaster recovery. Question 10. Across different scenarios involving workload balancer ISPATL notices uneven CPU edge across hosts despite ability. Which configuration step is most often overlooked? A. Assigning performance metric servers. B. Enabling dynamic optimization LB policies. C. Setting EPU affinity for each VM. D. Using shared storage for all VMS in the pool. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Dynamic optimization must be explicitly enabled on LB policies to allow automatic VM placement and balancing. Without LB may monitor performance but won't act. Metric servers collect data but don't redistribute workloads. EPU affinity override LB's ability to move VMS. Shared storage is necessary for migration but doesn't trigger optimization. Question 11. From a practical standpoint, Mr. Delgado is adding a new shared NFS storage repository, ENIA, to his XenServer pool. He notices inconsistent performance during peak hours. Which step will most effectively improve stability? A. Implement dedicated NICs for storage traffic. B. Enable jumbo frames on all network devices. C. Configure thin provisioning on the ENIA. D. Use a single host as the NFS gateway for the pool. Answer. Correct answer, A. Explanation. A dedicated NIC for storage traffic ensures that VM and management traffic do not compete with ENIA, reducing latency. Jumbo frames improve throughput but require end-to-end support and do not prevent congestion from mixed traffic. Thin provisioning is a storage efficiency technique, not a performance guarantee, using one host as a gateway and a bottleneck and single point of failure. Question 12. With respect to high availability planning, is Fisher configures how on her two-node XenServer pool? What configuration aspect is most critical to ensure successful failover? A. Assign all VMs a restart priority over medium. B. Use shared storage accessible by both hosts. C. Configure CPU masking between hosts. D. Ensure both hosts have the same network MAC addresses. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Hard depends on shared storage so that surviving hosts can access VM disks during failover. Restart priority affects boot order, not failover capability itself. EPU masking is relevant for mixed CPU pools, but not for host storage dependency. Identical MAC addresses would cause networking conflicts, not improve HA reliability. Question 13. During the process of diagnosing slow VM performance, Mr. Ibrahim finds that VMS certain hosts have degraded disk speeds while others in the pool are fine. Which action should be taken first? A. Migrate VMS to another host for testing. B. Rebuild the new metadata. C. Update XenServer tools on affected VMS. D. Replace the physical disks immediately. Answer. Correct answer, C. Explanation. Outdated XenServer tools can cause suboptimal disk I/O due to missing paravirtualized drivers. Even if storage is healthy, migration helps test but doesn't solve the root issue. Rebuilding in new metadata is complex and risky operation reserved for corruption issues. Replacing disks without confirming hardware faults is unnecessary and costly. Question 14. The core principles of workload balancing suggest that resource monitoring is essential. B is enabled, but no balancing occurs. What is the most likely overlooked requirement? A. Dedicated management interface. B. Active performance metrics collection from all hosts. C. Enabling jumbo frames of double-beat graphic. D. Manual VM placement before optimization runs. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Relies on performance metrics from all hosts to make placement decisions. Without active metrics collection, operate blindly. A dedicated management interface improves reliability but isn't mandatory. Jumbo frames benefit large data transfers but are irrelevant to metrics collection. Manual VM placement is counter to automated optimization goals. Question 15. In comparison with other snapshot strategies, Novak needs minimal downtime when creating backups of production VMS. Which approach best fits this requirement? A. Use rolling snapshots stored on shared ENIA. B. Use storage-level hardware snapshots integrated with XenServer. C. Export VM appliances during off-peak hours. D. Schedule periodic full VM clones. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Hardware snapshots at the storage level are nearly instantaneous and integrate with XenServer to reduce downtime significantly. Rolling snapshots in SRS are useful but still require XenServer level I/O pauses. VM exports are time-consuming and resource-heavy. Full VM clones consume large amounts of space and time. Question 16. By comparing the effects of EPU scheduling, Mr. Zhao notices that a latency-sensitive application is underperforming during host load spikes. Which XenServer configuration would help? A. Set CPU priority to low for non-critical VMS. B. Use CPU pinning for the latency-sensitive VM. C. Increase virtual C+ assigned to all VMS. D. Enable dynamic memory control for the VM. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. EPU pinning dedicates physical CPU cores to a specific VM, ensuring minimal scheduling delays during host contention. Lowering EPU priority for others may help indirectly but lacks predictability. Increasing VC process for all VMS can worsen contention. Dynamic memory control affects RAM, not CPU responsiveness. Question 17. When evaluating the merits of disaster recovery options, is Ortega wants immediate VM failover 2, a secondary site with minimal manual intervention? Which solution best achieves this? A. Periodic full VM exports to external drives. B. Continuous replication to a standby XenServer pool. C. Weekly snapshot scheduling to local SRS. D. Cold standby with manual VM import on demand. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Continuous replication ensures near-synchronous VM copies at the secondary site, enabling near-instant failover. Full exports and cold standby approaches involve manual steps and significant downtime. Local snapshots won't survive primary site failure and can't be restored quickly in disaster scenario. Question 18. Taking into account the need for controlled administrative access, ISTA must allow junior admins to reboot VMS but not delete or create them. Which feature satisfies this requirement? A. Assigning the VM operator role in RBAC. B. Isolating them on separate management VLAN. C. Restricting storage access at the newer level. D. Using audit logs to track their actions. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. The VM operator all permits operations like starting, stopping, and rebooting VMS without granting destructive permissions. VLAN isolation affects network traffic, not XenServer permissions. In-year-level restrictions control storage access but not VM actions. Audit logs provide visibility but do not prevent actions. Question 19. The development of a new XenServer cluster requires that all VM migrations occur without downtime even during high network usage. What is the most important factor to ensure this? A. Use NIC bonding in active-passive mode for migration networks. B. Enable jumbo frames across migration paths. C. Use separate dedicated NICs for migration traffic. D. Reduce the number of concurrent migrations. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Dedicated NICs for migration prevent bandwidth competition with VM and management traffic, ensuring smooth, live migrations. Active-passive bonding provides failover but doesn't prevent congestion. Jumbo frames enhance throughput but can't compensate for saturated links. Limiting concurrent migrations reduces load but does not maximize migration speed. Question 20. Historically speaking, XenServer pools have suffered instability when mixing hosts with different BIOS power management settings. What is the recommended best practice? A. Disable power management in BIOS for all hosts. B. Enable C states for better energy efficiency. C. Leave BIOS power settings at default. D. Use OR level power management exclusively. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Disabling power management ensures consistent CPU performance and timing across all hosts, critical for stable pool operation and VM migrations. Enabling C states can cause CPU frequency variations that disrupt time-sensitive workloads. Default settings may vary by vendor, causing inconsistency. OR-level management cannot override certain BIOS-level power behaviors. Question 21. The effectiveness of live migration depends heavily on proper network configuration. Mr. Lambert is experiencing slow migrations even though bandwidth appears sufficient. What adjustment is most likely to resolve the issue? A. Use a dedicated VLAN for migration traffic. B. Increase the virtual CPUs allocated to the source host. C. Disable compression for migration data. D. Enable multipathing on the storage repository. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. A dedicated VLAN for migration traffic prevents interference from production VM and management traffic, ensuring consistent throughput. Increasing VC+ on the host has no direct impact on migration speed. Disabling compression often increases data volume and slows migration. Storage multipathing optimizes in-year access, not migration network performance. Question 22. In the absence of proper licensing, ISA Patel notices that some XenServer features are unavailable. Which license-related steps should be taken to restore functionality? A. Install XenServer tools on all guest VMS. B. Apply the appropriate Citrix license file to the pool. C. Upgrade XenServer to the latest minor release. D. Reassign the pool master role to another host. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Applying the correct Citrix license file unlocks restricted features like XenServer tools enhance VM integration but do not affect licensing. Upgrading XenServer without the right license will not restore premium features. Changing the pool master does not influence license availability across the pool. Question 23. When considering performance optimization, Mr. O'Connor wants to reduce disk latency for high transaction VM as in shared storage. Which configuration is most beneficial? A. Increase ECU allocation for the VM. B. Use dedicated ENIA for the VM. C. Enable thin provisioning. D. Reduce the memory reservation for the VM. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. A dedicated ENIA for the VM ensures exclusive access to underlying storage I/O capacity, minimizing contention. Increasing VC plus doesn't reduce disk latency directly. Thin provisioning may introduce latency under high I/O workloads. Reducing memory reservations could degrade performance rather than improve storage responsiveness. Question 24. In response to a critical host failure, Mr. Johnson observes that how restarts BMS in an order that delays critical application recovery. Which setting should he adjust? A. EAPU priority. B. VM how restart priority. C. VM network cost settings. D. Storage multipathing policy. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Adjusting VM how restart priority ensures that critical workloads boot before less important ones during how events. EPU priority influences resource scheduling post-restart, not boot order. Network cost affects traffic shaping but not how sequence. Storage multipathing relates to redundancy, not restart ordering. Question 25. With the advent of large-scale XenServer deployments, ROSI must automate repetitive administrative tasks across all hosts. What approach is most effective? A. Write scripts using the zcli commands. B. Create multiple XenCenter sessions. C. Use manual configuration via each host console. D. Release solo policies. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Scripting with the zcli allows automation of tasks like VM provisioning, ENIA creation, and patch deployment across all hosts, ensuring efficiency and consistency. Multiple XenCenter sessions still require manual input. Host console changes are labor-intensive. WBs are designed for load optimization, not administrative automation. Question 26. Contrary to popular belief, thin provisioning in XenServer is not always optimal. Under which condition can it negatively affect performance? A. When the VM requires frequent storage snapshots. B. When the storage backend supports only block-level I/O. C. When the VM operates under high write-intensive workloads. D. When the ENIA is based on local SSD storage. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. High write-intensive workloads can cause thin provision storage to continually allocate new blocks, introducing latency, snapshot frequency, and backspace, not direct write performance. Block-level I/O is common and not inherently a problem. SSR-based ARS can still experience allocation overhead in thin provisioning. Question 27. Focusing specifically on network troubleshooting, Alvarez finds that VMSRS and VLAN have intermittent connectivity issues, while others are fine. Which is the most probable cause? A. Mismatched MTU settings between XenServer and switches. B. Incorrect HAR configuration. C. Outdated XenServer tools in EMS. D. Host CPU commitment. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Mismatched MTU settings between XenServer virtual interfaces and physical network switches can cause packet fragmentation and loss, leading to intermittent connectivity. How issues would not selectively affect VLANs. XenServer tools updates impact guest performance, not VLAN connectivity. EPU overcommitment impacts processing, not network reliability. Question 20. By evaluating different snapshot strategies, Kim wants to retain VM states without impacting production performance. Which method is most suitable? A. Frequent and guest backups using third-party software. B. Storage level snapshots integrated with XenServer. C. Manual export of VMS during peak hours. D. Periodic cloning of running VMS. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Storage level snapshots integrated with XenServer are near instant and impose minimal impact on running workloads. In-guest backups are resource intensive and can slow performance. Manual exports during peak hours significantly affect host load. Periodic cloning consumes large amounts of space and slows down the host. Question 29. The underlying principle of shared storage in XenServer is that all hosts in a pool can access the same VM disks. What is the most critical requirement for this? A. All hosts must run the same XenServer version. B. All hosts must be connected to the same storage network. C. All VMS must use identical virtual hardware profiles. D. All VMS must be on the same VLAN. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Shared storage access requires all hosts to be connected to the same storage network ISCSI, NFS, or fiber channel. While identical XenServer versions help maintain compatibility, storage network connectivity is the core requirement. Virtual hardware profiles don't determine in-year accessibility. VLAN uniformity is unrelated to storage access. Question 30. In a modern context of security hardening, Ismail wants to ensure that management traffic between XenCenter and XenServer is encrypted. What should she configure? A. Enable SALS for XenServer management interface. B. Use a dedicated NIC for storage traffic. C. Restrict SSH access to specific IP ranges. D. Place management NICs on a private VLAN. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Enable SALS and the XenServer management interface ensures encrypted communication between XenCenter and hosts. A dedicated storage NIC improves performance but doesn't encrypt management data. Restricting SSH improves security but not encryption. Private VLAN isolates traffic but does not guarantee encryption in transit.